Yeah, like I said before, when me, Jen, and Jazz lived in Elkton, we even went to my Uncle Bill's, which was Vernon's stepdad's place for Christmas that year. Because, like I said, I did celebrate these holidays even as a kid, but I did not celebrate them as an adult until I started having children, and this is what their mothers wanted. And no, I didn't agree with it at all. Of course, I went along with it because, oh boy, that would have been. Mm. And I also thought I could teach them, the right way about it as we went along. But of course, I wanted them to be of age to, know the difference of things. But anyway, yeah, when she went to the hospital with the busted nose the day that me and her and John were goofing off on the couch, her dad is the one that took her. And like I said, she tried to lie and make this whole story up that me and her got into a fight and she got punched. Uh, Jen, you know better. If I were to punch you in your face, you would have broken bones, not just a little fracture. You watched me drop Chris Ewing with one knee in our front yard, just goofing off. I wasn't even being serious. We were just goofing off. You watched me stand a 300-pound man on his head by his feet. Um, I don't know who you're trying to kid, but if I were to all out, straight on punch you in your face, you would have to have reconstructive surgery. Do you realize because of the MMA I've went through, the street fighting I've went through, the techniques that I've been taught, I can break bones just by the way I hit. Yes, what my uncles have taught me, what street fighting has taught me, I can break a bone just by the way I swing. I can put somebody to sleep anytime I feel like it. It can either be the first shot or I can toy with them and then put them to sleep. To do that takes a lot of power. So if I were to punch you in your face, you would be in ICU. You wouldn't just be getting a piece of tape over your nose. I have proven this to a lot of people. Where do you think my sister learned to hit? Me, watching me. It wasn't watching my brother. My brother didn't know how to hit. He knew how to wrestle. He knew how to sit on you. He did not know how to hit you. He could hit you, but he didn't know how to use it correctly. It would be like getting hit by a pillow. Oh yeah, I used to laugh at him for it. Trust me. We used to have contests to see who could hit harder, who had the better technique. You have no clue what we used to do. And yes, at the time it seemed stupid, but it worked on technique. And that's one of the top things about any style of fighting is technique. Training, of course, but technique is key. Conditioning, my bad. Not really training. You got to train to condition, but level of conditioning is also key. Yes. I used to fight grown men at 3 years old, and I didn't lose. And I'm talking about 30, 40 years old, men that are my age now. His name was Rick. The other one was Kenny. They were on drugs. Do you know how hard that is to win a fight against somebody like that, especially at that age? Could you imagine getting tossed down a flight of steps by the head of your hair just because some dude is mad at your mom? So you're going to sit here and try and act like I would do that to you over our daughter for no reason. That I would get in your face or be mad at you for no reason. Hmm. That's hilarious. See, I always had more girls that were friends than guys, and it wasn't because, oh, I was perverted and always liked a lot of girls around me. It was because I always, I don't know, we always got along. Me and the dudes didn't get along like that. And it was because I didn't like them. I didn't like the way they acted. I didn't like all that cockiness. I didn't like all that fucking bulliness they always tried to do. Yeah, I wasn't like that, and I didn't like that shit. That's why I got in a lot of trouble, and why I had a lot of trouble in school. I would hear a lot of that shit going on in class, and it would distract me. As soon as they moved me to a smaller class, I was kicking ass. I was one of the best students in their class. And it's because I was distracted. Also, I had a problem with tests. For some reason, I knew everything until it came time for a test and I knew I was being tested. I would fail. And I would know everything on the damn test with my eyes closed, but I would still fail. I don't know. I got nervous for some reason. My fucking brain would go a blur, and I know we're being, timed, and it's a test. It's like the final. And I know it was everything we went through the whole week or a whole month. Sometimes it was a month exam. But yeah, for some reason, dude, my brain would just go to mush. And I'm thinking of everything around the answer, but the answer will not come to me. So I got nervous and just put an answer. Ended up getting most of it wrong. Made me look like, I wasn't paying attention and that I had problems, which I did. I had problems focusing. And I had problems with anxiety when I was being tested, man. I got nervous as shit. And it was like a mind sweep. Pretty funny. As soon as the test was over, I knew every damn answer. I was mad. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's just what happened. And yeah, people used to try and assume, and they'd go off to their groups with their assumption, talking like they knew what they were talking about. And that's how rumors and drama and bullshit got started. Most of the time, I didn't even care. I just shook my head and went on. But sometimes, after a while, they would get themselves into this, I don't know, uproar. And they'd bring something to my attention and start trying to pick at me about it and be like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. And next thing you know, we're fighting. Yeah, I got in a lot of fights. I won those fights too. I didn't lose. I had 287 street fights under my belt with one tie. The rest were wins. Before I was even freaking 12 years old. It's another reason why I stopped doing martial arts. I started to get into the street fighting, even though the way I got entered into it was not willingly. But yeah, I was being made to fight, and I started winning, and people started, bragging and trying to talk me up into other fights, and it started to work. I started to get into other fights. I wasn't proud about it, but I was a kid. I thought I was just making friends in a weird way, but it worked. A lot of them started to respect me and either leave me alone or, we were friends. I remember an older dude, I was hanging out with my friends down the road, and I guess their parents weren't home, so this older dude come in and decided they were going to use their house for a party spot and went to throw all us young ones out, especially me because I don't put up with that dumb shit. And him and his friend picked me up and tossed me over a rail out the back door. I said, "You motherfucker." So I got up and went through the front door and cleared the house. I made them all leave. Yeah, they hated me for months. Oh yeah. I interrupted their party. Fuck you. I told my friend, I said, "You're a wimp letting those people take over your house like that." He's like, "What am I supposed to do?" Not let them do that, just like I did. He's like, "Yeah, well, you're crazier than I am." I said, "No, I just got more than you." Yeah, he was going to get in trouble. His mom was going to come home and catch all these people in the house. They were going to take off, and he'd be in trouble for their party that they threw. This is how some of the kids in the trailer park acted. Some of the older ones, anyway. And yeah, you had to watch out because a lot of times kids were home alone and their parents were working, and these people knew it, so they would use it just like that. Yeah, I was like 8 years old, 9 years old. I was young. I mean, yeah, to me, it's goofy, funny stories to laugh about, but it was serious things going on when I was younger. Yeah, my whole life's been hell, man. I wasn't kidding about that. And now I'm not crying about it either. It is what it is. I just see that some people mention what they go through and people like to hear it. Some don't. Others take it as a competition. Others get mad and want to fight over what they said. Hey, if wrong or right, it's what happened. And they spoke of it. I mean, why should you argue over it? I mean, you could have, conversations like, well, why didn't you do it this way or that way? I mean, it's over. It ain't like they can be like, okay, rewind it, let's do it again. No, that ship has sailed, my friend. You ain't getting a do-over. You might get the same situation again as a technical do-over, but not that same one. Yeah, Bethany, Jen, and Tiffany, all you had to do was be loyal and work on your own careers. That's it. Instead, you chose all this craziness, trying to dodge and divert and manipulate people away from what you were doing. And you used me as an scapegoat. Yeah, Jen, just like you did the guy that supposedly broke into your room. You used him as an scapegoat and that story. He never broke into your room. You allowed him in and then you got caught. So that's what you said. You all could have done anything you wanted at any time. All you had to do was talk about what you were feeling before you did it. And yes, that means you would have lost me, but I'm still not understanding how I was so abusive and bad, but you're so mad that you didn't get me. That's weird.